welcome back to the second part of Phasmophobia's Ghost Lore. And I'm Silentpinkgamer, if you are not aware, and this is the very first video you're seeing of me. Hi, welcome. And we are discussing the Phasmophobia Ghost Lore. I am super excited. This will actually be the last part. I was able to get all the ghosts into 2 videos, and that's great. You know what I mean? We don't have to make 6, 10, 12 videos. Obviously, you can tell from the very first video, they're not very detailed because it's folklore. And we should all know what folklore means. And if you don't, I will put it on the screen of what folklore means. But sorry about that, guys. But regardless of that, guys, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here. Pink hearts in the comments. You already know what to do. Any support and love you can give me to support my channel, it greatly, greatly helps. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and jump in it. And as you guys know, this is my official gameplay. And this was actually back when it was an update or a challenge and the sky was bloody red. So it was really cool how they did this. It was seeing the red sky and the bloody rain. It was really legit and really cool. So I'm hoping you enjoying the footage in the background. Of course, guys, if you want to go see this footage, it's on my channel. Look at my live section and you'll find my Phasmophobia videos. And eventually, they will all be in one nice little playlist. So if you guys just kind of want to watch it all at once, there you go. So let's go ahead and jump into the next ghost. The next guest is Mori. Originating from Romanian or Romania folklore, Moris, and if I pronounce any of these incorrectly, I do apologize. I sincerely apologize. Moris are a type of vampire or ghost that can appear as a living person or as a disembodied spirit. They are often associated with those who died in an unnatural death or were cursed. In Phasmophobia, Moris drain sanity rapidly, and their speed during a hunt increasingly signify like it's really fast. Um, the lower the player's average sanity is. So basically, they're super fast. Now, just imagine how cool it was to add a vampiric type. I know I just made that word up, guys. Don't come for me for making up words, but hey. And also too, there's some words it's just really hard for me to pronounce. So the more you're with me, y'all will realize that. But just imagine in Phasmophobia if we got like a vampire type ghost, and maybe if they did go a little further, especially with the bloody sky, and sometimes they can bite. You know what I mean? Maybe one of your team members is leaking blood, or maybe the ghost is so fast that it takes over another person's body, almost like a possession. And then next thing you know it, bam! It's an disembodied. It's living in a person. You know what I mean? Take over some features and controlling the player. The player's doing things that, is out of character, out of norm. I think that would be so cool if they were able to do something like that. You know what I mean? So that's really legit. So that's Amori. A Thaye. This goat type is unique in its age, and the game directly impacts its behavior. It starts off very active, fast, but becomes weaker and slower over time as the players remain in the location. This suggests a ghost that ages or deteriorates, losing energy and power. The lore here seems to be more directly tied to the game's mechanics than specifically world folklore. So basically, a Thaye doesn't necessarily have a lot of background, a lot of backstory, but it becomes weaker over time. It disintegrates. Like luminescence from Hunting Grounds. So check out my gameplay, guys. Hunting Grounds is out. Over time, it's being in the air. It slowly disintegrates and it disappears. It becomes not of this world anymore. It's gone. Bye. Vanishes. So just imagine like this ghost. This so basically this ghost is not necessarily in a world folklore. It could just be made up instantly, and that's what I'm getting from the information, that it's just made up. And that's really cool too. And I like the idea that a ghost deteriorates over time. Um, and that's actually something you need to look out for. Since I know that now it makes me want to go play Phasmophobia and go figure out like if I really experienced that, because then that ghost will be kind of hard to really figure out. You know, especially if it deteriorates over time. Sorry, I see, guys. Me pronouncing these words are interesting. But let's go ahead and move on. A shin is an exalmic tradition. I probably sound pronounced that so horribly wrong. I greatly apologize, guys. In exalmic traditions, Jinn or Jinn or Deogen are supernatural creatures that exist on Earth before humans. Now that's interesting. They are often described as invisible spirits with free will, capable of good or evil. They were never human. In Phasmophobia, jinns are territorial, fast, especially when the breaker is on. They utilize electricity and can cause sudden sanity drain. So it drains your sanity fast in Phasmophobia, and it's territorial. Um, the first Jinn I ever encountered before was not at this particular house that you're seeing on the screen, but it was a house, and it literally attacked me. Like, I gotta think of the house's name, but if I don't, it's all good. But it basically is one of the houses, and there was like a table in the front of like right when you walk in, there's a dining room table, and it literally just attacked me out of nowhere. It was severely aggressive. So, but I liked how that it's supernatural creatures. They're not necessarily spirits per se, and they were on Earth before humans. They could have really did a lot of unique things with jinns or the jinns. They and they have free will, so they can do whatever they want. They could throw stuff, they can toss, they can go through walls, they can play with the car. Like that's really cool. I really wish they really played with that aspect more, especially when it comes to the character models. I think that would have been really super duper cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Demons. Well, you know what a demon is. As the name suggests, demons in folklore are malevolent, powerful evil spirits often associated with hell or dark forces. They are not believed to have been human. In Phasmophobia, demons are arguably the more aggressive ghost type, capable of hunting at higher sanity thresholds and having shorter cooldowns between hunts, making them incredibly dangerous. As we know, demons. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not very religious. I'm not here to step on nobody's toes, especially when you talk about politics or religion. Things get a little freaky in there. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I do believe demons were, and also said that demons were once humans. They were. Okay. And we can agree to disagree. Like I said, I'm not here to step on no one's toes about that. But they are severely aggressive. You know, severely aggressive. I never, believe it or not, met in my history of playing Phasmophobia, and y'all guys, if y'all watched my gameplay, correct me if I was wrong, but I don't think I've ever specifically encountered a demon specifically. I know I've experienced different types of demons, but not necessarily a demon in general, right? But they're really super duper aggressive, associated with dark forces, and they could have done like really cool things, like maybe a house was like in the woods, and they had a lot of dark elements, a lot of spiritual circles, bones, and body parts everywhere. Like they could have really played a part on that. Like I know they do it really cool at the sane asylum, where it's like the church is basically like this hell, like this hell summoning circle type ritual type area. It's really cool that they did that and whatnot. I wish there were more, like when we have a demon, there's more prominent like elements in the background with the walls, the decorations, whatever, that they really specified that it's a demon. Like I said, I've probably repeated it multiple times, but they could have really went far with a lot of these demons and a lot of the character models with a lot of the information, giving us lore, giving us locations for certain type of demons and certain. It would have been so cool. And like I said, guys, I'm not knocking the devs. They could always do updates, okay? They can always do updates, but just imagine, just imagine if they really took the detail and even if they just made the character models all different for each ghost. That would be something, you know? Alright, guys, we're moving on. Onis. I mentioned this before, but Onis. In Japanese folklore, Onis are a type of ogre, demon, or troll, often depicted as a large, fearsome creature with horns. They were never human. Phasmophobia Onis are described as cousins to demons. Okay. Are more active when players are nearby, often appearing as a full body ghost model during events rather than a shadowy figure. So normally, if you see a big ogre type guy, 9 times out of 10, that's probably an ogre. But ogre, oh my gosh, an oni. But to be honest with you guys, as we know too, since there's not a lot of character models, there's always a chance just because you get a big guy doesn't mean it's gonna be an oni. But that's good something to figure out and test, and I actually might test that, to be honest with you. If I see it, I'm gonna test it and I'll let you guys know. But Onis are so unique, and we get a lot of Onis type depicted in a lot of Japanese art, animation, anime even. Yes, I watch anime, guys. And the fact that they could, once again, repeating, they could have done so much with even just having an Oni in there. Just imagine how terrifying seeing an Oni in a house, right? And also, too, Onis doesn't always have to be bad. There's some Onis that are just tricksters and things like that. There's so much really unique depicts of Onis and trolls and things like that. Some are greedy, some are obviously aggressive and killing and bad, and then some are they're not necessarily good, but they're not necessarily gonna harm you if you get my drift. So those are Onis, Japanese folklore. Wow, that's really cool. All right, let's move on. A Raiju in Japanese again. Japan again. In Japanese mythology, a Raiju is a legendary creature. Wow. Often depicted as a companion of the god of lightning. This takes the form of a thunder animal, like a cat or a weasel or wolf. It's associated with a thunderstorms and electricity. In Phasmophobia, the Raiju gains speed from active electronic equipment, making it increasingly fast if players are holding a camera, flashlight, or other devices during a hunt. So initially, they just played on the electricity part, but not so more of the animal type beast. And they still could have done like a weasel type spirit. That would have been really cool to see, or maybe a weasel type humanoid, small human-esque figurine to where it's still playing into that animal. Um, they could have also did a wolf. They could have did like a black dog, shadowy dog. 'Cause, dog omens are not normally good in general. They could have played like a black wolf just sitting on a couch. Just imagine if you come in a house and automatically you see a wolf with bright yellow eyes, like a silhouette of a wolf with bright yellow eyes staring at you on the couch. Yeah. And then next you know the electricity is going haywire. Raiju, baby. Raiju. Raiju. That would have been so freaking cool. I would have loved to see that. The weasel or the wolf. The cat, but the weasel or the wolf, definitely. You could have had fun with that. Let's go ahead and move on. A yokai. Yokai is a broad term in Japanese folklore, again, for supernatural entities, spirits, and monsters. They compress a vast array of beings, not necessarily deceased humans. Phasmophobia's yokais are characterized by their sensitivity to sound. They are easily angered by a player's voice and can initiate hunt at higher sanity if a player is talking near them. During a hunt, they struggle to detect electronics beyond a very close range. So initially, they don't like when you talk. So they basically want you to shut up. And then if they seem to be more aggressive or more agitated as you speak, then you got a yokai. I experienced them once before. I was by the door. I believe it was a yokai. I could be wrong. It's been a little while since I've seen my gameplay. But initially, I was by the door and I was talking with the speaker box, and out of nowhere it just slams the door, pushes the door in my face, bam, 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 bam. So yeah, that's really cool. And the fact that it's a broad term in Japanese folklore, it's a supernatural entity, spirit, or monster, you could have done monsters. Since we've got a lot of entities and spirits and demons, we could have done a monsters. We could do more monsters. Kind of like I created this horror story called Creepers, where like there are these little bitty shadowy figures that takes form of children's desires and wants and fears, and they bring them to lights and make the children trust them. Yes, I create horror stories, guys. So don't come for me. I create general ghost stories. And so like they'll have birds and they'll have cats, or just take form of toys or anything that the gain the children's trust. So, but they're initially entities and demons or monsters, as you want to call them. So they could have really had a lot of fun with that. Let's keep on going. The mimic. I have the hardest time discovering the mimic. Like, when I say I have the hardest time, like, don't get me wrong, when I play Phasmophobia, guys, I don't get a lot of the mimics. I don't get a lot of mimics at all, whatsoever. But when I do, it's so challenging. Oh, look, there's a Gorio. Got it correctly. But yeah, so I don't get a lot of mimics, but when I do, I'm still trying to understand on what I've done wrong. So let's go ahead and read it real quick. The mimic. The mimic, this ghost type doesn't have a single specific mythological origin, but rather embodies the concept of a doppelganger or a shapeshifter. Its core ability to mimic the behavior of ghost types, making it very unpredictable. It always have ghost orbs as evidence, even if it's mimicking a ghost that doesn't normally have them. So normally ghost orbs is kind of like a false safe, is guaranteed, bam. So anytime you get ghost orbs, there's a chance that it could be a mimic. So keep that in mind, guys. Y'all probably know a lot more than me because, like I said, I came into Phasmophobia late, like this year. Soon, hopefully, to get Demonology. Yes, I really want to play that game so bad. But yes, ghost orbs. I just have the hardest time because they mimic ghosts. But I know there's certain little evidence that basically signifies that it's them. But mimics are really cool. As you guys know, the Secret of the Mimic is out. Shout out to Scott for the new FNAF game. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I will not be playing it. I just thought about that game just now. Initially, it kind of does the same thing. It takes over the animatronics or the little stuffies animatronics that they've built, the endoskeletons initially, and they can become mini. And that's what makes mimics so terrifying, especially when it comes to in real life, the idea of a mimic. They always say we have doppelgangers out here, that we have lookalikes, right? We have people that look like us, that's literally could be our twin, you know? Like, it was scary because there was one time I saw someone that looked identical to my best friend, and I swear it was her, and it wasn't, and it scared the living shit out of me. So it's the mimic is the idea of a mimic is terrifying, because normally, since it's a mimic, it could be like, say for example, like in real life, like take this, like your favorite person in the world, right? And you swear you saw them at the store, but they're doing weird stuff. They're doing strange stuff. They're really mean or aggressive or nasty. And you're like, okay, I just saw you do this, and you realize that wasn't even your person, but they looked identical. Not necessarily identical in the sense of every little detail, but there is something off about them. And if you want to go back, like, we can go into the deets about mimics, because there's so many different doppelganger type, mimics type, shapeshifters. There's unique in the sense of they look like they could be your twin, but there is something off about them. Their face expression, their eye shape, their face shape. There's something, because they can't completely copycat you to the littlest milligram, but they would definitely try. They're almost very, very scary. Like, side note, my daughter recently told me she's been seeing black-eyed children outside of the house, like, and it's crazy because she doesn't know what that is, and we don't allow her to watch horror stuff. And obviously when I do my horror stuff, she's not in the room. But she recently said she keeps seeing children with really big black eyes outside my door, outside the window. And I was like, baby, don't let them in. Don't acknowledge them. Don't let them in. Don't listen. And she's like, oh, I'm not. So yeah, strange stuff these days, right? Oh my gosh. Let's keep on going. The twins, okay? This ghost type plays on the common horror trope of unsettling twin figures. While not tied to a singular real world legend, the idea of two spirits acting in tandem, one slower and one faster, creates a unique dynamic. They can perform interactions simultaneously. One twin can initiate a hunt while the other remains in the ghost room. Now, guys, the research that I've done on the twins is not two ghosts. For the longest time, I thought it was. And from the description, you think it is too. But no. The twins is one singular ghost that has a tendency to act like two people. For example, with the meteor that's detecting the ghost on how agitated it is inside the van, it will have like a little I'm calling them boxes, little rectangles that are like identical to each other. Also to the twins, they can initially, or he or them or the singular ghost initially, they can basically act like two different things at once initially. So that's why they call them twins, because they have the tendency to act like two people at once. But initially it's just one ghost. Now I could be completely wrong about that, but I did do my research on the twins, and that's literally what it said. Still could be wrong information. Obviously they could be changing it. Honestly, for the longest time, I thought it was twin ghosts, because experiencing the twins before, they were, well, it was very, one was in the kitchen and one was behind me chasing me initially and came out of me nowhere and attacked me, or tried to attack me. So they're very vicious, interesting spirits or ghosts or entities, and I like it. I like the idea of twin ghosts. It makes them really seem like they're like a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of situation. And that's what I kind of describe the singular ghost as, a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. All right, let's go ahead. Obake. Obake, another term for a Japanese folklore. Obake is, or Bakemono, probably pronounced that incorrectly, my apologies, refers to a shape-shifting monster or spirit. In Phasmophobia, this reflected in a unique ability to sometimes leave behind distorted fingerprints like six fingers or two thumbs, and to have a chance of changing its physical model during a hunt. So this believer is definitely a shapeshifter. So we have generic shape, we have the generic shape models. But then they have the Obake switches its model. So I gotta keep that in mind. And I will look out for that one too. Because like I said, guys, right after I do these videos, I'm going to go play some Phasmophobia, okay? I am not going to bed no time soon. But I'm really interesting. That's really interesting. I gotta go check that out. But it has the ability to switch. There is a chance where there's a time where I did see like a, um, a, a silhouette of a man, and then I saw something crawling on the ground. And I don't remember if that was Obake or not, but now it makes me want to go investigate. And it is part of Japanese folklore. It's a shape shifting monster or spirit. That's really freaking cool. That's really, really cool. A Deogen. The background of a Deogen is less clear cut than traditional folklore, but its in the game behavior suggests a relentless tracking entity. They consistently sense of living and more incredibly fast when far from their target, slowing down significantly when they get close. This makes them terrifying, almost predatory ghosts. So they're your hunters. Deogens are your hunters. Reminds me more of a monster, definitely for sure, than a spirit, and I like that idea. So we have a lot of monsters, we have a lot of spirits and ghosts and entities and demons, and once again, I really hope they get to a point to where they can really at least give us more more character models, especially since there's a lot of Japanese folklore entities and demons and spirits in here. I really wish they would. I hope in the future they give us more character models, even more locations. I think that would be really legit. All right, and Onryo, used to call it an Oreo. Not because I was hungry, guys. No, it was just because I thought it was cute to say instead of because there was the Goryo, Onryo. It makes it easy to call one an Oreo. Okay, and Oreo in Japanese folklore, an Oreo is a vengeful spirit, often female, who was wrongfully wronged in life, and whose anger allows it to cause harm in the world of the living. Their power is often tied to fire or light. In Phasmophobia, an Oreo is sensitive to flames. Extinguishing a flame like a candle can trigger a hunt. So initially, those are the ghosts that says, "Hey, try to get a ghost to blow out a candle," and 9 times out of 10, that's probably an Oreo. Not always the case though. Keep in mind, guys, a lot of the times when you go into these locations, it's not always the case it's that exact same ghost. That's why I generally do enjoy Phasmophobia. You never know what you're going to get when you get inside these places. But the fact that it's often female is really cool. So already right there, that's 3 female ghosts that honestly I wish we had a lot more of. That's really cool. And already, guys, that's actually the last ghost. I hope you enjoyed the folklore of all the Phasmophobia ghosts. Of course, guys, if I said some wrong information or maybe something was mixed up, definitely let me know in the comments. I am definitely a girl of positive criticism, like positive criticism. I'm definitely a girl about that. But I definitely do hope you enjoyed this video. I found out a lot of things that I didn't even know about demons and spirits and where their folklore came from. It makes it really cool and makes me crave more and wish that the devs did more with Phasmophobia. But that being said, guys, I hope you have the most amazing day ever. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you've been giving to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.